They say be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. But they also say sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind. So which is it? Maybe you're like me, I avoid confrontation wherever possible. But I'm learning that it's not always the best way, and it doesn't need to be harsh or fueled by anger. Hi, I'm so glad you're here. I'm Nusi. Do you ever feel like two wise sayings are arm wrestling with each other in your mind? Same. Welcome to Wise Discrepancies, where we explore paradoxical bits of wisdom and figure out when each one earns its place. Because we're all just trying to be as wise as we can, and sometimes wisdom doesn't come from choosing one truth, but from learning how to hold two or a few. Let's begin with the first. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. It's a call to compassion. It reminds us that most suffering is invisible, marked by politeness, silence, or bravado. This kind of kindness is patient. It listens and hesitates to make any judgment. It chooses grace over retaliation. And often it says, everyone's behavior is shaped by 1,000 invisible forces. I don't need to know them all to choose understanding. A Zen proverb says, a kind word can warm 3 winter months. I know I remember kind words from long, long ago. Kindness is wise when someone's behavior is shaped by pain rather than malice. It's wise when connection is more important than correction. It's especially wise in moments where no amount of pressure would help, but compassion might. As Lao Tzu wrote in the Tao Te Ching, I have just 3 things to teach: simplicity, patience, compassion. These 3 are your greatest treasures. You could say grace is what happens when love reaches where logic can't. As theologian Paul Tillich once wrote, grace is the acceptance of that which is unacceptable. He wasn't speaking about excusing wrongdoing, but about the power of grace to create space for healing in ourselves and in others. Grace, in his view, meets us not after we clean ourselves up, but while we are still a mess. It helps us stay in relationship with what is difficult, without denying it and without letting it define us. Grace allows us to be present with everything all the time. As philosopher Alain de Botton puts it, being mature is the ability to tolerate the paradox that some people may hurt us and yet still deserve compassion. This kind of emotional charity is our capacity to extend leeway to others, not because they've earned it, but because we recognize how hard it is to be human. It's not just softness, it's wisdom clothed in gentleness. But then there's the other saying, sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind. This one, it's got sharp edges. It's not a license for cruelty, of course, though it often gets misunderstood that way. It's about truth-telling when truth stings. It's setting boundaries that might be hurtful. It's pulling someone out of denial, even if it shatters their image of you. And of course, it's about doing all these things to our own selves too. Being kind to myself might mean pulling myself out of denial, even if it shatters my whole self-concept. It's wise when comfort has become enabling, when kindness starts shielding the truth, when silence becomes complicity, when the most loving thing is the hardest thing. But all this only works if it actually helps, not if it's just harshness disguised as help. If we're snapping people into reality just to feel right or superior, we've missed the point. That's not where our energy should go. As one Indian proverb says, a wise man's anger lasts a moment. A fool's anger lasts a lifetime. It reminds us that even when we choose sharpness, it should be rooted in clarity and care, not ego or resentment. As the Dalai Lama reminds us, Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. This is the kind of compassion that helps dissolve resentment because it shifts the focus away from ego. It looks at the other person as an equal, someone who is another expression of you. And when ego isn't at the center, we don't need to win. Winning becomes irrelevant. We only need to respond with care as best we can. So which is wiser, soft kindness or sharp kindness? Maybe it depends on where it's coming from. Perhaps compassion is the best place to start. Soft kindness says, I see you and give of myself. Sharp kindness says, I see you and give of myself. Both rooted in care. There's a story from the Buddhist tradition of a mother tiger biting her cub, not to hurt it, but to keep it from walking into danger. That's sharp kindness, and it's powerful when timed right. But imagine if she bit it every time it wandered. That's no longer love. That's fear pretending to be care. Sometimes the kindest thing we can do is back off. Other times it's to speak the hard truth. Wisdom might be knowing the difference between a wound that heals and one that leaves a scar. It's in knowing when softness opens hearts and when firmness is kindness. I once had to tell someone close to me in so many words that I forgive you, but I can't take you back into my life. And it broke something in both of us, but it was kind, not soft kindness, fierce kindness. And then there are moments where gentleness changes everything. When someone's been beaten down by life and what they need is not a lesson, but a lifeline, a soft landing, a warm gaze, a pause from all the noise, just sitting together hand in hand. And if I can't give that from myself, I wish for it sincerely for everyone I meet who needs it and offer what I can. Sometimes that's the medicine. As the Dalai Lama reminds us, compassion is not religious business. It is human business. It is not luxury. It is essential for our own peace and mental stability. It is essential for human survival. That kind of compassion isn't weakness. It's strength that doesn't need to dominate. It holds space without losing clarity and protects without punishing. It doesn't avoid boundaries, it places them wisely. It doesn't deny harm, but refuses to become it. Easier said than done, of course. I don't feel like I know how to do all this, but I know I can just do my best in every moment, keeping all of this with me. Which brings us to the thread that seems to weave through all wisdom: trust. Beneath all of it, beneath the tenderness and the toughness lies trust. Trust that love doesn't always look like agreement, that trust that discomfort can be a doorway, trust that we can hold space for complexity and still choose to stay kind. Trust, it seems, is a common thread running through all wisdom. It's what makes kindness courageous and boundaries compassionate. Trust that we can just do our best and leave the rest. So what about you? What kind of kindness is being asked of you today? For yourself and for others? A fierce kind of kindness or a soft one? If this made you pause, reflect, or breathe a little deeper, subscribe to Wise Discrepancies, because we're all just trying to be as wise as we can, right? And sometimes wisdom doesn't come from choosing one truth, but from learning how to hold two or a few. Drop your favorite contradictory sayings in the comments. I'd love to delve into the wisdom you're carrying. Here's a mantra to take with you. May my kindness be wise, gentle when it heals, firm when it protects. Thanks for listening. Until next time.